Okay, the Neices are 2 weeks old today, and to celebrate this monumental occasion, Andrea and I prepared some spaghetti squash for them. Last night for dinner, Andrea and I had a spaghetti squash, and some of the spaghetti squash looked like bugs and stuff had gotten into them, so instead of throwing them out, we just chopped one in half and cooked it like we would a normal spaghetti squash, except we did not put any olive oil or anything on it. We just stuck it upside down in the oven and cooked it right next to our spaghetti squash. We've given them cooked and uncooked spaghetti squash, and they can eat the uncooked spaghetti squash, but they prefer the cooked spaghetti squash in the past. So let me get this ready and let's see what happens. Okay, I just set it down, and of course Samantha went right over there, and the babies are just having a good spaghetti squash time. And so what will happen is some of them will grab a piece and do what we call football, or they'll run away and then go to eat it. And so that's one half right there. The other half over here, the sisters are starting to take care of. But the spaghetti squash, when it's cooked, I don't know if you can actually see it. Let me zoom in a little bit. That the spaghetti squash, you know, hence its name, is like string. And so when it's cooked like this, the chickens can just grab a string piece and then just eat it like spaghetti. And so, like I said, we've done this before, and the sisters actually go nuts. The other thing that we do with this one is, since they're eating it, we don't core it out at all. So all the guts and all of the seeds and everything are just in it when we cook it. Obviously, if it's for us, we core it out first to get the guts and the seeds out. But then what I do is I'll take the guts and the seeds, and I'll just bring them out here and let the sisters and the nieces eat it. I don't think they can eat the seeds yet, but as you can see, they're definitely enjoying the spaghetti squash itself. And so we have our little food and our little water area thing over here. And as the Neices get bigger, we will add bricks and stuff and pavers to get these higher, like we did with the water over there. And then as soon as they're tall enough, we will just take those away, and then they'll just use the main food and water. Right. Evidently ML told one of the Neices that ML wanted some spaghetti squash. And so Andrea bought initially some starter food for them, and it was extremely high in protein. I think it's technically like turkey starter food. Oh, there's one of them right there trying to get the water, the big water. And it was recommended for like the first few days, the first week or so, to give them like a really, really high protein to get everything kick-started. Unfortunately, when we do that, the sisters will gravitate towards it too. I don't see Blondie anywhere, but Blondie especially is, she will just pig out on that food. But that was just 5 pounds of it. The food we're giving them now is the same food that we give the sisters, except we give the sisters a pellet version, and this is a crumble version because the Neices aren't big enough to eat the pellets yet. The food that we give them, it's called a Kalmbach all flock food. So it's designed for babies. It's designed for laying hens. It's designed for meat birds. It's designed for older chickens. So it's a full life stage food. So we don't have to have several different types of food running around. So as you can tell, ML over there doesn't really understand that it's it's the same food. So she likes going out of that. The other reason why we like keeping that low is to make the sisters work for it. So if they're going to eat the baby's food, then they can at least work for it a little bit. Now, the other thing that happened last week, I think it started like Tuesday or Wednesday, but we would come out and Samantha would be out with a couple of the Neices, and then the rest of them would be in the coop. And at first we thought a couple of the Neices escaped, so we were grabbing them and chucking them back in the coop, and we did that for about a day or so. Then everybody ended up down in the coop, or down in the run here, and nobody was going back up. And we tried to get Samantha and the babies back up, but that just was not going to happen. And so it was recommended that since they were going to be down here, at least until the Neices were big enough to get up and down the ramp, to actually make a, Ern, what are you doing? To actually make a little temporary housing area. Oh, hold on a second. Lady does not really care about the chickens too much, but for some reason the youngins running around is a little too much for her, so she has to like go after them. But anyway, we had this old Rubbermaid here, and let me get to the other side. And so it was recommended to cut a hole into it and to create like a little temporary safe space. So if they're going to be down here, they can at least be in a safer area down here. Now, our entire run has 1/2-inch mesh all around it. We have mesh on the perimeters. Hold on. We have mesh that you can't really see because the grass and everything's over it. But we have mesh going about 2 feet out on the bottom. We have mesh all around the sides. We have this whole thing coated in mesh. So predators won't be able to get into here. And mice still have found their way in here. And everything. So Samantha's pretty well protected in here with them. But to keep them out of wind and stuff, it was suggested to have that Rubbermaid. And so, of course, now everybody's pigging out on the spaghetti squash, which is good. And so, basically, that's what we've been doing. We're hoping in about the next week or so they'll get big enough. Samantha does try to get them up every night in order to get them into the coop, but they just don't want to follow. They follow everywhere else, but just not up the ramp. Which they've gone up the ramp at least partially before, but not a lot. Oh, there's Lacey right there. Alright, that's Lacey right there. Lacey needs to lay an egg. Alright, the screeching there, that was Blondie. That's Blondie in the back. That's Pamela in the front. Yeah, so if you hear screeching, that's Blondie. If you hear something that sounds like a clarinet, that's Lacey. So, alright, looks like the Neices are having a good bit of the spaghetti squash. Really, Blondie? Alright, Blondie's a pretty quiet chicken, so she must be having to lay an egg. when Samantha was in the coop, you know, that was messing up the whole chicken dynamic. So there's a whole bunch of chicken drama going on. Whenever Lacey does that, it just how she does her I gotta lay an egg sound is just hilarious. So anyway, but other than that, everything's been going good. Every night that I've opened the door to let them do free ranging, Samantha's had the Neices out. Everybody's been trained, so when it gets to be about 6:30 or so, everybody is underneath the coop looking at the sliding door saying, "Are you gonna let us out yet?" And so that's pretty funny. And there's been a couple of nights where we couldn't do it for whatever reason, but we try to do it most nights. And so, but anyway, done rambling. Just wanted to show the Neices with their spaghetti squash, and they're 2 weeks old. As you can see, their feathers are coming in nicely. Andrea said that since they're outside 100% of the time, their feathers will come in faster. Because it took the sisters, because we had them in a brooder inside. Because you know, it was in March when we were when we got them, beginning of March, so it was a lot colder. And B, it was, we didn't have the coop built yet, so they were inside, so it took them like 6 weeks to get their feathers. The nephews, when they were here earlier this year, it was about 4 weeks. And so it's been 2 weeks now, so we'll see how long it gets them to get their intermediate feathers. So Andrea is texting me right now, so I got to see what she's doing, which will give me a good chance to quit rambling. So sisters, 2 weeks old. So far, everything is good.